Hi everyone, Beck here from Beck Do Transformation. Just wanting to welcome you all, those hopping on. We're just going to start with some light language just to open up the capacity. I have my notes from my download already. So we're just going to open up the space with some light language. Kiro kashakayate. Arokoyama she kayate kayama yohatea. Kiro koshakaya kayate yoteoma. Hiromashe. Hiromashe yo yomatea yate. Arokoshakayate okoyama. Erokoshakayate oteoma. Te royama she atea. Hi, Nikki, how are you? Nice to have you join us. So, light language is essentially a frequency language. It's an ancient language and it bypasses our humanness, our brain. It goes straight to our DNA, straight to our souls. Hello, beautiful. Nice to say hello. Nice to see you here. And that's what makes it so powerful. So I've begun using it in every treatment because it accelerates the healing capacity of the treatment. It awakens the body on the table to the truth of who they really be. And it awakens all that DNA, that soul connection, and enlivens it. And basically, it's like healing on steroids. It is an adjunct to the participant's willingness to let go. It just bypasses the brain, which causes all the blocks in the first place, and it goes straight to the cellular level, to the DNA, and starts to shift. And I feel it's like a re-reminding of the body and the being of who they truly be and what is actually possible for healing. So light language is a really powerful tool. I'm running a workshop. Where are we? February 17th. It's a Saturday evening, 5 p.m. to 7:30. And it's to unlock that light language in you and to help you really connect with your own unique light language. So be watching out for that in the events. We kick off with meditation, just a few announcements. Kick off with meditation on this Thursday, next Thursday coming, and it'll be 12:30 to 2, and I'm introducing light language through the meditation as well, because I was shown that we need to really awaken. 2024 is all about awakening to our power and our potency, our true potential, and our true divine plan, our mission here, if you like. No pressure. We all have come with an intention, a mission. And today's live kind of is going to go through some of that came through in the download. And then we start off with breath work in a fortnightly basis on February 1st, which is the Thursday after, same time, 12:30 to 2. And breath work actually just starts to open up that whole healing capacity. It puts us in touch with the divine. If we can activate our pineal gland, we really become this radio receiver for divine connection, divine source. Downloads increase, the power and potency of everything we're here to do increases when we're completely connected and we're actually triggering these crystals in the pineal gland. But I talk about that in the group. And then we have our Sunday meditation breathwork together with light language. So that's going to be a powerful little workshop, 6 till 8:30 p.m. on Sunday, the 28th of January. So January is packed. And then February rolls in and we've got introduction to mediumship. So really getting into the spiritual realm, connecting to the spiritual realm and understanding how spirit is all around us. The unseen world is all around us. And some of us are sentient, we feel it. Some of us see it, so we're clairvoyant. Some of us are clairaudient, we hear it. And it's just really removing the blocks to you and your own capacity, and then connecting through communication with the spirit world. So lots of things coming up, but let's get into the download for this week. So This week I was guided to talk about the holographic universe. So, can we see that? Maybe you need to get a bit closer. So basically, I've got a mirror here if you can't see it, and I've got a little stick figure and a stick figure. So basically, 2024 and 2023 was a lot about this too. We're looking in the mirror. And the reason we're looking in the mirror is to start to really unpack all those areas of us that isn't whole. Because there is duality, I talked about that in the last slide. There is polarity here. So there is the shadow, there is the light. And without the two, there is no existence. They offset each other, they balance each other like poles on a magnet. You've got the negative and the positive, right? And like repels. So the mirror, when we see it in someone else, what is within us, that we haven't acknowledged that isn't in the light yet, it actually repels us, doesn't it? We have a reaction, we have a trigger, but really they're the gift. A mirror is a gift, a reflection is a gift for us to look at ourselves and go, you know what? Wow, in what way am I not whole here, that I'm just being shown this through another person in the physical matter so that I can become whole. And how do we become whole? One, we acknowledge that there is the shadow and there is the light within us. Two, we acknowledge that there are parts of us that are still sitting in trauma, that are hidden, that are suppressed, that are repressed, and that we can't actually access with the conscious mind. They live in the subconscious mind. So breathwork, meditation, access bars starts to access that subconscious mind. We go into that beautiful theta state of asleep but not asleep, dreamlike state, awake but not awake. And that's when we can really access the subconscious mind. And we can become aware and bring into our conscious mind the patterns and the programs, the old movies that are running in the background. And the way that this happens is the more we connect, the more we open that space of non-judgment of others, non-judgment of us, and we allow ourselves to truly see the polarity and the duality within us by looking at the world, right? So the world is going through a phase of bringing into the light what was in the darkness for so many years, the control, the overbearing way that the net has just been tightening and tightening and tightening over the decades in so many areas. And many of us were just getting on with our lives, not necessarily seeing it, aware of it, but not necessarily acknowledging it perhaps, because perhaps we weren't acknowledging that within us. So basically, the mirror effect that has been happening and that will continue through 2024 is a reflection and a projection process. So we're projecting onto others what we are repressing within ourselves, and they are reflecting to us what we are repressing and suppressing within ourselves, what we haven't brought into our conscious mind yet to be able to heal it, to be able to alchemize it. So alchemy is being able to actually feel it, acknowledge it. This has been my experience. So you know, you might have a different experience. My experience is the more I come into bringing my subconscious behaviors, even little body movements and things that I've been noticing about myself, it's like, where did that come from? Because that's been programmed in. Has it come through observation? Has it come through just being with people? I'm starting to look at absolutely everything. So the more I become aware of what's playing in the background, the more I become aware of the subconscious movements of my body, the thought patterns, the processes, the more I bring them into the light, out of the subconscious. I'm like digging for gold in the subconscious, bringing it into the light, into the conscious mind, without judgment of the person that I'm copying, or, you know, the feelings that were brought about by an external force that's helping me actually heal my soul, heal those aspects of my soul that aren't whole yet, if that makes sense. So that's been my process. So I wanted to go into, which I covered a little bit in the last couple of lives, was soul contracts and soul lessons. So we kind of have this soul family, this beautiful soul family that we have meetings with on the other side. There's lots of books written by this. I shared a few in the last live, you know, Journey of the Souls, Many Lives, Many Masters. Talk about this aspect of passing over and then having a meeting, you know, doing a life review, looking at what we learned and what we didn't learn, what did we miss, and what's still to be learnt, what's still to be transcended, transmuted and alchemized. And then we have a meeting with this beautiful soul family and we say, well, I still need to learn this. And somebody who loves us very much stands up and says, well, I'll be that for you so that you can learn that lesson. So when we start to look at things in this broader perspective, this broader picture, we start to understand that actually everything that's happening, absolutely everything, the dark, the light, the yin, the yang, the black, the white, the good, the bad, whatever labels we want to put on it, it's all divinely orchestrated. We've asked for it. We've created it. We're consciously creating it or subconsciously creating it on some level or the other. And having said that, you know, all the beauty that we see, you know, all the kindness and the love and the generosity that we see, that's also in us. So we can, you know, we can have this balanced picture of us. It's not just all shadow. There are some beautiful aspects within us that we see reflected and aspected to us through the mirror effect of being here in community, in the world, in a society. So these soul contracts and these soul lessons are something we've actually chosen, that we have actually gathered together and asked souls, other souls, it doesn't matter sort of what body they've incarnated to, they have aligned with us and answered our request of, this is the lesson I need to learn. For me, for example, just a personal thing, so I needed to learn how to have boundaries. I didn't have any. I was a people pleaser. I just bent over backwards to the detriment of myself until enough beautiful souls that loved me enough just push those boundaries and push those boundaries and push those boundaries. And then one day my subconscious program of people pleasing came into the light. It came into my conscious mind. It's like, oh, look, I'm like this. I need love and validation, so I'm in the people-pleasing mode. I also feel I'm not worthy enough, so I'm in the people-pleasing mode. So all of these things, there were many more things that I got to sit in meditation with, that I got to have a look at, that became light. They came into the light. I became aware of them. The conscious mind then could do something about it. I could look at the patterns, I could look at the programs without any judgment. I went through a process, obviously, dropping the judgment of all these beautiful people, all these beautiful souls that busted my boundaries so that I could look at it. So I could look at my own patterns and my own programs and go, you know what? I'm ready to let that go. And yes, I've fumbled, and yes, I've made mistakes when I've tried to set boundaries. You know, we learn. We're like toddlers, right? So a toddler takes a few steps, they might fall down, but what do? We encourage them to get back up, don't we? We encourage them to keep going, don't we? We don't say to them, oh, well, you'll never walk. But sometimes we say that to ourselves, don't we? I didn't get it right this time, so I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to try anymore. But really, it's in the trying, it's in the evolution, it's in the growth where the strength comes, where the character comes, where the alchemy comes, where the transcendence comes. It's in that process of actually going, it doesn't work for me anymore, and I'm the only one that can change it. I'm the only one that can change it. So that is empowering all on its own. If we can get to the strength of, I can change this, I've come to change this, we can actually sit in that power. We can just, you know, and it takes time. I had a conversation with a client what day is it? Just yesterday. And she said, oh, I can forgive, but I feel like, why should he get away with it? And my response was, we don't forgive for them, we forgive for us. We forgive for us because it's healing for us. Forgiveness is a selfish act. If you truly forgive, if you truly sit in the place of forgiveness, and you understand that their soul is playing this part so that we can grow and we can learn and we can transcend and alchemize these things. And it's hard to look at really horrific things that have happened to people, but it's so empowering to actually take the broader view of, oh my goodness, my soul wants to never have to do this again. That's why I've created and recreated this through this lifetime. Because this lifetime, I really want to overcome it. I really want to let these feelings go. And how do we let feelings go? We have to actually feel them. We have to actually bring them from the subconscious mind into the conscious mind and alchemize them. So allow ourselves to feel them, because they are energy in motion. So the more we sit, for example, fear was a huge thing for me last year. Sitting in my fear to the point of literally vomiting. That's how deep the fear was. But allowing myself to go through that hideous process of just sitting in it, rather than getting into activity, rather than getting into distraction, rather than going out, rather than 100 other things I could have done, sitting with the discomfort of the level of my fear and how far back it went. It actually then brought me through to a place of fearlessness. I can't put a price on that. That is just priceless. That's a priceless place to be for someone who was ruled by fear. Not external fear so much, but fear of myself, fear of failure, fear of not being enough, blah, 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 blah. Don't want to bore you with all that. I'm just trying to give you an example. So, soul contracts, soul lessons. So I'm so grateful to the people that taught me about fear so that I could actually transcend it, alchemize it. Because fear is an illusion. It's things we're worrying about that have happened in the past that we think we're going to recreate in the future. And we will recreate them because we're the creator of our experience until we realize we don't have to. That's the key. Is that in the conscious mind, we can choose differently. When we're conscious of things, we can actually choose differently. So the process of 2024, I talked about the eye of the needle. And the reason I call it the eye of the needle is the pressure that gets exerted on us when we're actually in this openness to let go, openness to actually grow and heal, this openness. And we actually are choosing to have this kind of pressure on us to look at ourselves, to move through literally the eye of the needle. Because what happens when we come out on the other side? There's expansion, there's growth, there's freedom, there's love, there's, a creation of a different life. We're actually opening up to a new timeline on the other side. So another term that's similar is the refiner's fire, and the Christians use this in Christianity. So the refiner's fire is a visual for that is when they dig up gold from the earth, like the old, in Bendigo and that, they were foraging for gold during the gold rush days here in Australia. And the gold that they would pull up would have all sorts of impurities in it. So it would have dirt in it. Might be mixed with other metals. It might be mixed with rock. It might be mixed with sand, or it might be coated in sand, or you get the picture. So what they would do was put the gold in a container of sorts, and you can probably find YouTube videos on it, and then they heat it at a high temperature underneath. And what happens as they heat it is all the impurities start to rise to the surface. And all that remains, they can skim off the impurities, then they can skim it off and skim it off and skim it off. And all that remains in the bottom is the pure gold. And that's the refiner's fire for us, right? When all these impurities start to rise within us, when our subconscious starts to come into the light, when our conscious mind starts to see all these impurities, that's all they are. They're the programming, they're the patterns, they're the belief systems, they're the emotions that are trapped. It's the energy in our bodies that are blocked that cause disease and illness. And when they start to come into the light, which is they are under pressure, right, from the fire of being transferred from the subconscious to the conscious. And it's painful, isn't it? The heat is painful, isn't it? Because we're looking at things we've never looked at before. But guess what? We can skim off the impurities. We can start to skim off the impurities. So in the case of forgiveness, we start to move into forgiveness because we realize it's for us. is to set us free so we don't have to do this karmic circle again. And we certainly don't have that soul family member have to reappear in another lifetime to teach us these things, because we're choosing to learn it now. We're choosing to move to forgiveness now because we understand the bigger picture. We understand that we've done a life review previously and we've said, I still need to shift this. Will you help me do it, please? And they've said, yes, I love you so much. Of course, I'll help you. So, and of course, I'm simplifying it. There's a lot more to it. In the process, it feels like hell. When you're on the other side, it feels like gold, though. So yeah, that's why I put the refiner's fire here. So everything that is not whole will come to the surface. And 2024, I've been shown, certainly until February, March, this energy of a quickening of, it feels like in the energetic field, it just feels like a quickening. It's like, you know, there was a slow burn, like it took a while for the fire to actually heat up, and now we're in the thick of it. So now the gold is liquid and the impurities are going to come to the surface if they aren't already. You know, a lot of us are in this process already of these impurities coming to the surface. So everything that is not whole comes to the surface and into the light, and will be no more hiding from our shadow. And the collective shadow, so the collective shadow is also a reflection, because there's going to be impurities within the collective that's going to come to the light. It's been happening, hasn't it? There's truths and light coming into the darkness that has been, into that control matrix. It's showing it for what it is. So that's basically it. And so just remember, I feel like now kind of having a presence of, remember that it's cyclical, right? So everything runs on cycles. So we've been through a fear process. We had to grieve for the loss of everything through that process. We also had to sit with us, didn't we? We had to sit with us. We were made to sit still. We were made to look at things that we perhaps were too busy previous to the fear process to look at. So fear is a very low vibration. It's only at 100 on the Hawkins scale of consciousness. And if you know anything about spiral dynamics, sometimes we have to circle back. Sometimes we have to circle back before we can ascend and transcend. So if another fear, a mass fear in the collective conscious comes, just remind yourself that you've been through it already. Remind yourself what it feels like, and remind yourself it's an illusion, that it's not real. It's something to trigger you back to a lower vibration, a lower frequency. And no judgment for yourself, for ourselves, for the world. If we go there again, no judgment. It means that we haven't cleared it yet. We haven't cleared it yet, so we've had to go back there in order to clear it, transcend it, and expand through it. Because that's what the scale of consciousness is. We start very contracted at the bottom, living in fear, guilt, shame, and apathy. Grief is a huge one too. So we start in a contracted state, and in a contracted state there's a lot of suffering. So you can see the red there, there's a lot of suffering in the contracted state. When we start to become more conscious and we start to move to a higher frequency and we start to take responsibility, we expand more, and life becomes what we call getting by. But really the expanded state and the flow state is in these higher vibrations of courage, neutrality, so that no judgment piece, you know, looking at everything, seeing the gift in everything, and a willingness to be in that state of reflection, be in that state of understanding everything as a mirror, and accepting everything. Everything is on a divine purpose. Everything is here to grow our soul, and we've chosen it. So once we get to there, we're in the flow state. And of course, anything higher than that, being able to reason through things, being able to love, being able to feel your joy, express yourself authentically. Authenticity is the highest vibration. So we reach then that expanded state and the ultimate consciousness state, right? So that's where that's our roadmap. That's where we would like to go. That's what our soul would like for us. But there are these roadblocks in between. And there is the shadow that's coming up. And so I felt like today's download was to give you a different perspective, to give you a different approach maybe to some of the challenges you might be facing now, or the challenges that are yet to come for you. And to just remember you are part of a whole, you are part of a big dynamic puzzle. You are one piece that is very important, because without you, the puzzle can never be completed. So you are important, just as important as every other piece in this glorious puzzle we call life, this glorious puzzle we call Earth. So take heart, you're in the right place at the right time, and you are doing the work. If you've stumbled, if you've fallen, if you've, feel like you've stepped backwards, like I just pointed out, just be gentle with yourself. Let the judgment go, because everything is divinely planned for you. It's a chance for you to revisit. It's a chance for you to sit with you. It's a chance for you to just go and really assess where you're at on that scale of consciousness. Where is my vibration today? Where is my frequency today? And what can I let go of today? And no pressure there either. Some days we just want to sit in it, in our muck, don't we? And by allowing ourselves that no place of judgment and allowing ourselves to just be where we are in the moment, we can actually become more conscious. We can bring these subconscious thoughts into the light, into the conscious mind, so that we can do something about it. So we can actually change it, transmute it, alchemize it, and heal from it. Anyway, that's the download for today. Thank you for joining me, beautiful people. So appreciate you. Sending lots of love, and wherever you're at, drop me a little comment in below. Let me know if this has been a contribution, and wherever you're at, let's just share honestly and openly with each other, and let's just support each other through everything that's happened, everything that's about to happen, everything that's coming, and let's just rejoice as a soul family that we are doing the work. We have chosen this, and that we are in the perfect place at the perfect time. Love you lots. Bye. Have a great day.